This is a different kind of session. We have no presenters. We're unfortunate enough to have a little intro talk from me just to set the stage for the session. But I'll set the problem out, I'll set the motivation out, why we're doing this and where we are in the process. So this session is mapping from the DataCite metadata schema to schema.org, aligned with the Science on Schema.org guidelines for doing so, for expressing schema.org metadata for datasets. So that's why this sits underneath that Science on Schema.org cluster. So there's your pretty slide. Here's my actual slide. So this presentation gets reused every time we do a hackathon. This is the third hackathon that we're doing. If you've been to this before, it's fine to tune out for 10 minutes because this is the exact same slide deck I do every time. So tip, you need a GitHub account if you want to do comments, because this conversation is centered on issues that are on the scienceonschema.org's GitHub. So if you have one, please sign in. Otherwise, you can just complain to me about how it's right or wrong, and then we will incorporate that together. This is an intensely collaborative discussion. So our fellow is going to be literally running around the room with mics. If you want and you're not scared of each other, you can come closer and make it easier for them and just pass the mic with each other. Those online, I will attempt to look for raised hands. Please don't feel afraid to just unmute and jump in. That's what this kind of session is. All right. There's a clicky thing that happens. There we go. Okay, so problem statement. So DataCite's current mapping from their metadata schema to schema.org that's in their APIs produces invalid metadata. Several fields are also mapped incorrectly between the systems, and many others are lost completely, not just because of the differing scopes of the metadata systems, but because they're just dropped. So, for example, this is on the DataCite Commons. So it's DataCite commons.datasite.org, and you tack on the DOI after that, and you can get a page like this. And that download metadata button on the left side, it uses the metadata mapping they have behind the scenes, and you can convert from DataCite XML to DataCite JSON, of course, but also to schema.org. But the problem is that, this is an example landing page on their interface for one of our data sets in heliophysics. Okay, doesn't particularly matter which one you choose. But the example I want to point out here that was the largest sin, I guess, largest motivation for us in heliophysics to even think about this was that the authors that we have, or rather, as you can see the highlight, the contributors that we have listed on this data set, we took all that care and time to get that right in the DataCite metadata. But if you download that schema.org JSON LD and throw it in the schema.org's validation tool, it's invalid. So they mapped the contributor type of, say, project leader into literally contributor type, but that's not a field on schema.org, so it's invalid. So if we put that JSON LD, embedded that into our landing pages, they would not be indexed by internet search engines. So that's an infrastructure problem. Also, they mapped our project leaders to be editors. That's another problem. And there are some other things that just get dropped. I won't go page by page on it, but this was enough motivation to catch our attention. In fact, because of this problem, we were forced to actually map from our heliophysics specific metadata system to DataCite separately instead of just giving them our JSON LD. So there's a reverse problem to this. So we talked with DataCite about this, showed them a couple things, and they are interested in a mapping from this group to review. So the goal of these hackathons, this series, is to create a reasonably complete mapping from DataCite to schema.org, aligned with this ESIP standard or ESIP guideline for expressing schema.org metadata for data sets. All right, so keywords, reasonably complete, where you're not aiming for theoretical perfection. We're not aiming for... Yeah, that's enough said. Okay, so desired mapping example. Here's what we want at the end of the day. Okay, so same stuff on the left side, but we want the schema.org to be valid, aligned with how these things are to be expressed with that standard or guideline. Like, they keep saying it's a guideline, not a standard, so my words get screwed up. So for example, instead of what we saw before where contributor type was this fake field and the term was just copied over, it's actually supposed to look like this according to the guidelines. It's supposed to be contributor. Of course, the @list preserves order. And then it's the role that has a defined term, and then the contributors inside of there. So don't debate with me about the structure for the guideline. I'm the wrong person. But this is what they had to figure out because it wasn't as easy as DataCite hoped that it would be. Okay, so current status, there are a series of issues on the scienceonschema.org GitHub. So it's all under issue number 265. And the link to these slides are in the group notes. So you can click on that. And all of the links we're going to need for our activity are in this slide deck. So we have a full draft of the mapping spread into 13 or so issues on GitHub. We've had 2 hackathons so far and gotten through about half of the material. And all of the issues have source XML, so example of DataCite XML to start with, and then draft schema.org JSON-LD of what it might look like. And that's what we use for discussion. Basically, is this right? Is there a better way to do this? It gets a little tricky when talking about mapping, say, from this term to that term, like in contributor roles, for example. That gets a little down in the weeds sometimes, but the point is to come out with something that is reasonably complete and useful. All right, so this is a hackathon. Hopefully you have your computers pulled out. So sign into GitHub. We're not going to break into groups. I think we're going to just stay as one group. Yeah, so skip that one. So previously, so I broke the different GitHub issues into little groups. So group 1 has been completed, group 4 has been completed. So it's the freedom of the people that are attending to choose which group of tasks that we do. So group 2 is all together because it's basically related identifiers and similar stuff. So these are where you put in the DOI or the ARC or whatever kind of identifier, or even the URL. DataCite supports that. And then there's the relation type, so that relationship between your data set and whatever this other thing is. And then it's very similarly related item. And then rights, they also have identifiers. Kind of fit in the group. Group 3 is more of a text-based kind of group, if you prefer that. So there's subject, and of course there's support there for terms from controlled vocabularies. There's description, which is pretty straightforward kind of idea. And then there's a conglomeration of a bunch of other things that got shoved in there because they didn't fit anywhere else. So it's any preference on which group we choose? How about a do raise hands kind of thing? And can you look online? Is there anyone online right now? I got a person online. Freaking awesome. How about you unmute and say hi? You're like my biggest fan right now.
Oh, hi.
Hi. All right, so we're going to do raise hands, and our helper here, our fellow, is going to let me know which one you raise hands for. Okay, so if you want to do group 2, raise your hand. Okay, 2 brave souls. Did she raise her hand online? No, okay. Group 3. 1 person. The rest of you abstain. Did she raise her hand? Okay, so I have to, you have a tie. Do we want to work out, what the different relation types map to on schema.org? Or do we want to go through a bunch of simpler things?
I don't really have a preference, but I guess that's pretty easy. So
okay,
go with the flow.
How about if people are new, let's go with the simpler things. So let's do group 3. All right, so those are 267, 274, and 278. I will be bouncing back to this slide every time we're done with a particular issue. All right, the last slide on this has a bunch of useful links that I already have open up here. So if you want to check work or participate in one of these areas, That's what this is. All right, so what are the different links? So the parent issue, that's the first link that you see on the slide. If you want to pull up the DataCite metadata structure and all their definitions and stuff as we map back and forth, that's what that DataCite link is. So grab that one. There's a link to the guidelines for expressing dataset metadata on schema.org. So we're aligning with that. So if someone can grab that, that would be great. There's also the schema.org validator link. So we want the JSON LD that comes from this mapping to be valid, of course, so we need to check it. So once we have drafts, you'll see me copying into there. Feel free to do it yourself too. Another thing is that we want Google is apparently special. They have their own validator. It's this Google's rich results validator that has not only the schema.org stuff built in and those rules, it has some additional requirements built in, particularly for data sets, software too, but we're not talking about that. So you can grab that link. So can I get a volunteer to grab one of these links and do stuff? Pick a link. I'm going to point to you and say, pick a link. How's that? Which link do you want? Grab it. Okay, make sure you have the GitHub pulled up too, because we'll be copying and pasting from there. Who wants the Science on Schema.org guideline? Go for it. Pull it up. Who wants the DataCite link? Look at each person. Lynn, this is something you could jump in on. Poke. Is that a yes?
I'm not.
Okay. Who does my person online want the DataCite link? Okay, claimed. Going once, going twice. All right. All right. And the schema.org validator, who wants that one? You're going to be my point of reference. No takers. All right. I guess I'll take that one. All right. Let's get started. So if you want to move closer together, that would make our fellow's job easier. Because when we're talking, we want the person online to also hear us. Okay. So let's sit down. All right. So I'm going, there's always that shelf. Okay. So let's start with description. It's one of the simpler things, and we can use that to walk through what this kind of thing looks like. Let me hide this thing. All right. So description, this is the link to that issue. Let's pull this up. Okay. So example XML from DataCite for description. So description in DataCite has several different types of description, so that makes this mapping process a little more complicated than just going from description on DataCite to description on schema.org, because there are different types. So I hate how GitHub does that. No, a second. I have to do this little click thing. New tab. Okay, so for my DataCite person, can you get to the definition for description? Should look like this. All right, great. So you want to read that out loud?
So description, the application is recommended, so it's not mandatory. Definition means all additional information that does not fit in any of the other categories. May be used for technical information or detailed information associated with a scientific instrument.
Okay, so we can safely ignore the instrument sentence because we're working on data sets. But basically, it's going to be a text field, as we can see from the example. But we have to choose a description type before we can map that into schema.org. Okay, so there's a draft mapping. We don't have to start from scratch here, but let's talk about the different types. Sorry, this needs to zoom in. Sweet. Okay, so there's different types. Let's pick one to start with. So how about abstract? That's probably one of the most common ones. So abstract on DataCite. I'm going to click this button. You want to read that definition for us before we switch over to schema.org?
Definition.
Mike.
Oh, yeah. Definition, a brief description of the resource and the context in which the resource was created. Usage note, recommended for discovery. That's probably not that important.
There's some formatting stuff.
That's a formatting stuff, yeah.
Yeah, we don't need that.
And then, yeah.
And then there's an example there. Okay, so let's see what the suggested mapping was. So here, the suggestion was to map that abstract into literally the description field. So let's jump to the schema.org piece for description, schema.org, literally /description. Now, whether I got the capital D right or not, apparently not. I can never keep straight which one's capital or not. So the definition for description on schema.org is, of course, very vague. It's literally a description of the item. And it's expected to be text, so we're not going to run into any type problems when we map from DataCite to schema.org. Okay. So does that mapping seem reasonable?
Yes.
Okay. It's good for you. It's good. Seems fine. Nods from Lynn. Our person online?
Yeah.
You want to pipe up and say yay or nay? No comment.
Yay. It's been hard to find the raised hand, but agreed.
Okay, cool. We got 2 more people. This seems okay? Okay, cool. So that one stands. So let's try the next one. From methods to measurement technique. Oh, you may as well leave the mic with him for now. He unknowingly volunteered to talk a lot. So our definition for methods on the DataCite side, can you read that?
Yeah. Definition, the methodology employed for the study or research.
Okay, so the suggested mapping to schema.org is measurement technique. So let's see what that definition is. Does someone else want to drive the schema.org definitions? All right, go for it. So it's measurement technique with that camel case right there. So you'll all have to be friends with the mic, passing it back and forth. She'll need the mic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is a technique, method, or technology used in an observation, statistical variable, or data set, or data download, data catalog, corresponding to the method used for measuring the corresponding variables. For data sets, described using variable measured for observation, a statistical variable.
How do those definitions compare? Is that a satisfactory match?
There's more. This is very long.
Oh, no. Wait, what? Let me pull it up on the screen so they can see it.
That might be easier rather than have like people listen to it.
Oh, I'm trying to do visual and audio. Is it going to? Dang, maybe don't read all that out loud. I didn't know I sent you to the dog. Sorry.
Might not necessarily be variable measured.
Into the mic.
Oh,
There you go.
as or mapping to properties such as those defined in schema.org or other RDF vocabularies and knowledge graphs. In that case, the subproperty of variable measured called measure property is applicable.
Hold on. You can stop. It's too much. Too much. So maybe let's give this a read, and then I'll flip back to the DataCite one and we can compare it.
So the schema that also has measurement method.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Well, let me leave it here, but you go ahead and pull it up.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, great. I'll hand the mic to you next. Has everyone pondered this one they're okay? Let me pull up another tab so we can, why this keeps popping up, I don't know. So you said measurement method. Let me pull it up on the screen.
In this was property of measuring technique.
Oh, this one's new, cool. You want to read the definition into the mic?
It says sub-property.
It's a subproperty of measurement techniques that can be used for specifying specific methods.
Okay, so we might have a range problem, not range, sorry, we might have. I don't know. I mean, there's always throwing it on the validator to see if it errors or not. Try it, see if it breaks. Okay, so specifying specific methods. And then this one was technique, method, or technology used. And then back to the DataCite, kind of our home definition, the methodology employed for the study or research. Which one should we map this into? Or have you found something different that might be better? I wonder if I can have these side by side. So let me go crazy for a second. Hold on. This can be a little tricky. You don't need that part of it. I'm not going to get 3 side by side. That's not going to happen. I might be able to pull these together and then like flip between them somehow. Hold on. Okay. Let me finagle this thing. Maybe. Okay. That is hopefully useful. And we're looking at that one.
So this is more broader than the other one.
Is that a good thing? You think that's appropriate? Okay.
Broader is good usually, but like you can fit a lot more.
Mike.
So I was thinking like broader is usually good if you don't want like very specific mapping, like especially when you're converting from one to the other.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
There is no correct answer. We're figuring out what the correct answer is. That's my reaction. I don't have the answer. I just drafted something. Any other opinions on this? I can flip back to the other one in just a minute.
Sounds right.
Okay. Comment in the room is sounds right. What do you think online?
We have 2 people now.
Ooh, I got 2. Sweet. So this is a very interactive session, my newcomer. You are invited to unmute yourself and talk into the mic.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just jumping on late. I lost track of time, so I'm still just trying to play catch up with where things are at.
Okay. So the short and sweet thing, without jumping back to slides, is that we're trying to map from, which way are we going again? I always screw that up. I do too many mappings. This is what I have to deal with. So we're mapping from DataCite to schema.org in a way that's aligned with the Science on Schema.org guidelines for expressing dataset metadata on schema.org. So that's what that is. The link to these slides are in the notes, and the slides have all sorts of stuff. We're focusing on group 3 over here, and that all of your links are there. And right now we're working on description. Okay. But the way we're walking through this is we're comparing the definition on DataCite, which you see on the left of your screen, to the definitions for the one or more options on schema.org to see which one makes the most sense to map to. So here we're comparing methods on the left from DataCite, so methodology employed for study or research, to measurement technique on the right. I'm not reading all that stuff. Or to measurement method. And the comment so far in the room was that measurement method seemed more specific than measurement technique. So maybe measurement technique might be more useful to map to. Any opinions? Can I do a raise of hands so we can like choose between the two? Okay. No one's looking at me mad, so we'll go for it. So how about measurement technique? Raise your hand. Okay. Cool. People online? Did they raise hands? I got one. Cool. All right. Measurement. That was just about everybody. So I won't even call a vote for measurement method. All right. So back to the GitHub then. All right. Which one were you? That's the 265. We need this one. Okay. So then measurement technique, it's literally whatever text was in that field on DataCite just gets assigned to measurement technique. All right, let's try the next one. So table of contents to just text. Okay, what's going on with that? Table of contents. Let's go back to our DataCite. Oh no, there's 3 windows or 1.5. I'm not sure how you call it. So let's get to table of contents. So skipping series for now. Table of contents. My DataCite person. You want to read that definition for us?
Table of contents. A listing of the table of contents.
How unsurprising, right? Okay. And now, maybe I'm not as imaginative or have such an expansive knowledge of schema.org, but this is the one I found. The textual sorry, I'm not the schema.org person. You are. Why don't you read the definition?
Oh.
Grab the mic.
Yeah, I'm still I was searching for it. So just the text entry.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, where you are.
It's schema.org / and then whatever the term name is. Sometimes the capitalization is funny. I wish they would just have the link not require correct capitalization. That would make life easy. Yeah.
There we go. Strange. Capital T gives you something completely different. Anyway, text is the textual content of this creative work.
Okay. So to be fair, let me show you all the wider landscape here. So I'm pulling up the schema.org page that's for data sets. So capital D for types, I think. But this has all of the terms that are supported for data set. So I can throw this in the notes, but it's literally schema.org / dataset with a capital D. Because by the time I get to the notes, we're going to lose everyone's attention. I'm going to get lost. Okay, so we can scroll down here and dig to your heart's content. But one of the tricks that I have is just looking for one of the keywords and seeing where it pops up. You're free to do the same. So just scanning by the names, like access mode definitely doesn't sound like table of contents to me. That seems like completely different beast there. Accessibility feature doesn't seem like table of contents. Archived at, interesting, but not table of contents. I can't even read what that one is. Come on, page. Author is definitely not table of contents. We've already mapped that one. Content location, rating, or reference time. Does that seem like table of contents to anyone? Okay, no, keep going. Okay, country of origin? Nope. Definitely not. Expires, that's a date, not text, so we can't use that one just by the types. In language is definitely not table of contents. Interpreted as claim, that definitely doesn't seem to fit. Let's see. Is your table of contents family friendly? I could not resist that joke. Sorry, guys. Okay. So license, that's a different thing. Publisher is definitely not table of contents. So spatial coverage, that's a no, right? Temporal coverage, same thing. Text, this is where the suggestion came from. Time required doesn't seem like it fits. Usage info, maybe let's take a look at this one. Well, does usage info seem like table of contents? No? Okay, let's just skip it then. Work translation, nope. And this, maybe your research has something to do with disease, but that's not a general case. So text seemed like the only thing that even closely matched. If you know of something different, please chime in. Do we want to go with mapping from table of contents to text? What was that?
I don't see anything else. It's like more very general, but it's a catch-all.
Okay, so comment in the room was, we don't see much of anything else. It seems general, but workable. Paraphrased all. All right. So nods or hand raised, we're good with this? Got hand raised, got some nods, got some like, why are we talking about this?
There is a schema.org hyper TOC.
Hyper, can you spell that?
Yeah, it's capital HYPER and then capital TOC.
Hypertext?
see.
Oh, capital T. Pay attention.
Yeah, and if you're putting it in the URL, it's capital H. Yeah, same thing. TOC.
Hold on. I got to fight with this thing. Maria wants to enter the room. I should admit her, I assume. Okay. I'm sorry. Do the spelling again.
Capital HYPER, capital TOC.
OC. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I missed. Ooh. Oh, it's a new one. Cool. Hypertext table of contents. This is definitely closer.
Does this belong to data set?
Does it work? So data set is a type of creative work. So maybe. So here's where we go into developer mode, as I call it. We're just going to grab this. I have schema.org validator pulled out. We're going to throw it in here, just run it. And then we're going to, so that's cool. But we want this to be that other piece. This piece. So let's see if it works. See if we can break it or not. All right. Okay, you're right over the play button. Oh, it doesn't like it. It's not recognized for an object type of data set. Oh, man.
There's also a table, field log table, can you take that?
I'm sorry, put him on the mic, please.
There is one.
Oh, I thought your phone was the mic for a second. Sorry.
So there is another schema term called table, just TABLE, capital T.
All right, let's try that one.
Want to try that? So it belongs to, I think, web creative work.
Like that?
Web page.
Okay. Okay. A table on a web page.
Yeah,
Close.
that's not it right though.
See if it'll take it. I didn't like that either.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I
Takes it.
I wonder if the groups would shoot me or not, but I wonder if we can do this or if this would even change anything. Like adding creative work as a type. It doesn't like that, but it might go with the other one we tried. Yes, you can. You should choose them wisely. Because adding more types adds more requirements and more complexity, right? But a data set is creative work. So I don't know. It doesn't like it anyway.
Can you append it to description?
We could. One of the things we're trying to do with this mapping, comment in the room was, can we append it to description? One of the things we're trying to do with the mapping is that we're doing the mapping knowing we're going to have to flip this thing and go backwards. So we're trying to avoid combining things into multiple fields where possible. In fact, some things are just not getting mapped. Like, in fact, I should.
This is other scheme. It's called has.
That's a relationship.
Okay.
So that's going to come in with the relation types.
Okay.
We definitely need it in there. So we don't want to map the same thing in the two places. Yeah. Okay. So did I spell hyper TOC right? Is it like capitals for OC? Because that's a thing.
Just capital T and then OC, lowercase OC.
Okay. So it's spelled correctly. And then, okay. So it's not liking it. Let me just check on why that might be real quick. I'll pull it up here. So I do not memorize everything I look at. I don't know about y'all. There's no good place for that thing.
So hypertrophy itself is a created form.
It's a type. That's why we can't use it.
Okay.
It's a type. Okay. All right. Well, that makes more sense. All right. And this table thing, is it a, it is a type. Okay. Well, we don't want to define subtypes here. That's going to get really, well, could we? It could be like, let me get creative for a second. Let me see if it could be something like this. I wonder if this would help. And we could do the hyper TOC. And then, I don't know. And then where would we put it under here? This TOC entry, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to copy that because I know I'm going to mistype that crap. Then this thing. Remove that. Does it work? Ah, come on. It was a decent idea. So it's complaining that hyper TOC isn't a type that's allowed by text. And text was the only thing we thought was useful to put it under. Do we surrender and just go with text or any better ideas? Oh, Mike, please.
Well, I was looking at that. If you added the TOC thing, the hyper TOC to the type up there, could you not add one of these properties instead of text?
As in up here instead of creative work?
Yeah.
I am hesitating because that's saying that the data set is also a hypertext table of contents. I hesitate at that.
Okay. Because I thought that was like, okay, then I'm not understanding what we're doing. But I thought that was like you're basically defining namespaces up there for the types of things that you could pull out of the various parts.
Yes, but it's also supposed to be, it also provides the definition of what kind of thing this is as a whole.
Okay. This is.
I don't have more experienced people in the room to tell me, shut up, you're being dumb. So I'll hesitate for now, but can you go on the GitHub for this one and put that down as an idea? And then the leaders of the scienceonschema.org group can be like, yay or nay, because that is interesting. I just don't know if they would shoot it down or not.
So when we do things in planetary, we don't do this. So we have our own system. So and
Be on the mic, please.
yeah, sorry. So I was just trying to equate this to the way that we do things in planetary, which is that we have our own system that does this, and the way that we build our classes is basically by adding dictionaries of terms to it. So the type at the top didn't really make any difference. It's basically a list of the namespaces that you can pull into the actual metadata section. And so for us, it would be like I would add the ones that I need and then take the values that I need out of those to add those to the whatever I'm mapping.
Yeah. What I want you to do is put the idea in front of the leaders of the group and see if they're like, no, it should be like clean up there and really matching and meaning, or seeing if they're happy with just pulling in, treat it like a dictionary import.
Okay.
Yeah, put that in there.
Also, so there is no abstract property.
Oh, we're talking about,
No,
yeah, there's no abstract
in schema, if
I-
you put that.
Well, let me confirm that that's a thing. So if there were an abstract, well, that would be, hold on,
There is an abstract.
but is it under dataset? Where? Abstract. Nah.
So let-
I have weird reaction, guys. I work alone too much at my house. I work remotely. Okay, so maybe we should go back and use abstract as one of the other things.
And make TOCS description.
Hold on, let me find the right tab. Over, where are you? Here. So should this be abstract instead of description? Well, let's look at what the definition is. Hold on, let me just not act blind. All right, so schema.org person, definition for abstract.
Abstract is a short description that summarizes a creative work.
Okay, so let me flip to the DataCite one. As you can tell, this is a very dynamic thing. So DataCite person, can you read the abstract definition over here?
The methodology, a brief description of the resource and the context in which the resource was created.
So do we like this better than description on the, hold on, I'm losing tabs. So,
Yeah, so. It's a little problem. It's a problem that we are not identifying data set that we created well.
wait,
It's essentially,
So the data set seems very narrow, so we just don't have as much. It's not as expressive as the creative work. So we probably need more things that are in the creative work in the data set. So yeah, it's a little bit too tight the way we describe a data set.
I can't change the what's allowed on dataset on the schema.org side. If I could, I would be like doing all sorts of interesting things that people probably would shoot me for. So I was like, what'd you do that for? Okay. Oh wait, we need to see which one the guidelines wanted us to choose. As I think they had a thing for abstract, but not for the other ones. Who did someone volunteer to have the guidelines pulled up? I don't remember. Everyone's looking at me, so I guess that's me. Okay. Okay. So I don't think we need this particular one. So let me pull that up. Let's see which ones. I don't want to do something to get shot. Figuratively speaking. Okay. No worries. Okay, so I literally tried to like control F. Something happened. Okay. So they have description as the short summary describing the data set. Oh, they have some recommendations from Google. Oh, that's a different thing. Okay. The only required fields on Google are name and description. Okay, so that might be why the suggestion was description, because if we don't have that description field filled, it won't be indexed. Okay, so we might have our hands tied on that one. Okay, always gotta check those things. Okay, so hold on, let's get our pieces pulled up. All right, so we're stuck with description, even though abstract seems like it fits better. All right, let's see, where were we? Table of contents, thank you. Right, we had tried a couple different options and none of them were working. The hesitation was not to import a bunch of things in the context piece, not context, in the in this type statement, because they don't have that in the guidelines. Well, let's actually, I wonder if they comment on types in here. Okay, so that's going to be in like every example. I'm looking for any sort. Yeah, the leaders of the group weren't able to attend. Oh, come on. Any text? Like which type? This is like searching for a needle in a haystack, guys. Let me just look up here. Maybe here. I don't see any comment in here about like a preference of importing more versus less. So I guess we'll just wait for their opinion and just pick the best choices, so being more restrictive. And if there's more freedom later, we can come back to that. Okay, so for table of contents, the only thing that worked out for the validator was this text option. So let me, oh, come on. Sorry, wrong click, guys. You've seen people screw this up all the time. All right, so here's our validator piece. So that didn't work because of a type conflict. So it looks like what we're stuck with is really just this. And that should work. What do y'all think about that? Okay. Thumbs up in the room, some nods. What about online? What do y'all think? No comment. Okay. We'll charge ahead and hopefully no one gets angry. Thumbs up. Okay, thank you. All right, so let's see what the other suggestion was. So let's see, we talked about those two. So technical info to abstract. Hold on, we need a little more context on what that was. Okay, so I guess it's what it was. Technical information from DataCite to abstract. So let's navigate to all the right pieces. So my DataCite person needs the mic. Just read the definition, and I will pull up the schema.org one to pull on the screen.
Technical information, detailed information that may be associated with design, implementation, operation, use, and/or maintenance of a process, system, or instrument.
Okay. And there's some usage notes on software. Yeah. Okay. So abstract. Okay. And it's gonna track. All right. My schema.org person. I'm gonna read this one for us again. Yep.
An abstract is a short description that summarizes a creative work.
Okay. How's this? Or is there another option under dataset that I could try? So maybe if I search for technical. Okay, so spatial coverage definitely doesn't seem to match. And translator doesn't seem to match. We want text, not a person. Any other ideas of what I could search for? If I search for information, who knows what's going to come up? I guess I'll just do it. Can't hurt. Start at the top, though. That's the entire thing. Distribution is a data download type. Encoding format is something different. That publishing principles does not seem to match to me, at least. Try another one. Usage info. Maybe. Does that make sense to anyone else? Nope. All right. Keep going, they say. And we have to map text in anyway, and that doesn't allow it. Lots of information there. Additional type. That's more like if you're trying to specify which type of data set, so not technical info. Oh, this one's fun. Disambiguating description. It's one of the newer ones. Anyone like that option? I guess our schema.org person, you want to read the definition for disambiguating description right there?
Yeah, I'm going to read it off the slide. property of description, a short description of the item used to disambiguate from other similar items. Information from other properties, in particular name, may be necessary for the description to be useful for disambiguation.
Okay.
Like that better.
You like that one better? Let me open it separately. We can chew on that a little bit more. Let's see what there's one more thing on this page it wants. Yep, and that's definitely not relevant. So we do not need to map technical info into disease spread statistics. It's not a good idea. Vetoed. Okay, so technical info into this disambiguating description or into abstract. Mike?
Abstract is used in other places for the description, so it would be really easy to
Confused?
confuse these two things,
Okay.
because this is not the abstract in a text or in a journal. So
Right. Okay, so an argument for disambiguating description. Any other comments in the room or online? What do you think? I will switch randomly between the two pages for schema.org.
So I think this should not be an abstract.
This should not be an abstract because that's how it was mapped earlier, because we are mapping abstract to description, right? So if we map technical information to abstract, we're kind of switching this. So it should be something else. Well, I don't know which one, but
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
it should not be abstract. That's
Right. Second vote, second argument for not abstract. Right. Seeing some facial expressions here. All right, let's go for it. So I'll have this raise of hands or thumbs up online for disambiguating description. We'll vote for that one first. Go for it. Thumbs up, hands. Shrugs, like, yeah, it kind of works. That's going to be what the result is of most of these things. Like, yeah, it kind of works. Yeah. Any better ideas? Like, is there a term we're missing that might be better? That really is the name of the game with schema.org. Trying to find something that's close enough. Oh, online, do we have thumbs up or hands raised? We're good with this one? Okay, I'll call the vote for abstract then. Thumbs up, hands raised for mapping to abstract instead. No comment. They're like, I am not in this crazy. All right. So we'll go ahead and stick with disambiguating description. So let me go to that piece right here, copy the term in. If you think of it, and this is on GitHub, so if you think of a better idea later, post a comment on the GitHub issue, and then that conversation continues. So this goes here. All right, we always got to test our work. Sweet. All right, so let's go back here. Okay, we've gone through these, and then other isn't mapped to anything, but let's just make sure first that we've talked about all of the DataCite description types. So I'm going to pull this over here a little bit more. One thing I swept under the rug is this series information. So let me just ask the group, okay, so first DataCite person, can you read the definition for series information? And then we can discuss what we want to do.
So series information, information about a repeating series, such as volume, issue, or number.
Okay, so give the usage notes a quick read just to yourselves and see what we want to do. Oh, you can read it out loud if you're okay with that. Whatever you want to do, it's cool. It looks like they're trying to shift people off of using this description type. Does anyone else get a different impression from that? From the usage notes? Is that text big enough? That's a thing.
I think this applies more to
Mike?
a journal article or something like that. This applies more to a journal article where
Okay.
they have volume and series, right? But dataset also can have that kind of thing as well. So if a project collects multiple data collections, for example, in Earth data, I can think of having a series kind of information, right? So if you want to cite the top of all the collections. So for example, a person comes and use all the Modis series, and they can also cite some on the top levels as well.
So-
So this can occur, I think.
Yeah, but
This should be there in the data science. I think we should not take it away.
Would that be something like a versioning?
it could be versioning, but the way he was describing it was like different parts of a larger data set. That sounds to me more like a related identifier where this has part idea, where this data set is part of this larger one to connect those identifiers. This is a text field. So if you put like a DOI in here or an arc or handle, whatever identifiers you use in your system to try to connect from this to a bigger one or a smaller one, it's not going to be machine actionable. Now, if you have like part 1, part 2, part 3, and you don't use identifiers for those things, yeah, that should probably go there. So I don't think we need to debate what goes into the field. That's like the choice you all make in implementation, right? So this is like volume, issue, or number, definitely for journal articles, but maybe for data sets. That's what I'm hearing. So there isn't a draft for this because I went, yeah, this journal articles. Probably not, but we could definitely look to see if we want, well, first, do we want to include this in the mapping? Like, do you think this would be useful to include?
So if you are mapping the ancillary, the already published data sets, some of the data sets might have these information on DataCite.
Okay.
So it looks like when I see the definition there, it recommends using the related item for the future data sets, right? For the new items, but the one that is already published might have this item.
Okay.
I don't know.
Now, I wonder what the usage notes imply on the mapping. Maybe we should put a note on the GitHub issue and say anything in this field needs to be mapped into wherever the relevant information from a related item gets mapped so that the same types of information get mapped into the same place. And then when we flip the mapping, it would be mapped into related item instead of series information. What do y'all think? Is that a good idea?
If that's what they want, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So if we're done, hold on. Let me go to the GitHub thing and start typing something. So notes from discussion, hackathon on July 31st. Okay. So group decision is to map description type series information into the same place. Okay, did I get that right? I should say from DataCite. Oh, Lynn, are you making that comment about the question with different contexts and stuff? Okay, let's add that note here. Okay, so question was, can we import other types at the top level? terms like, what was it? Hypertext? No, hyper TOC. Or what was it? Table of contents. I can type today. We're going to be good. So need input from the group leads. Okay. All right. Otherwise, I think we have the schema.org done, but there might be one more piece. Let's just check. Oh, where'd it go? There you are. Okay, so we've decided what to do with, come on, abstract, methods, series information we have a note on, table of contents we mapped but I have a question on, we mapped technical info to disambiguating description, then other. My guess was just to not map it.
Other?
Yeah, there's a description type of other. Other description, sorry, DataCite person, let me not take your job. You want to read the definition for it? Mike's behind you. No, he's thinking. So,
Yeah, so
oh yeah. Okay, go for it.
Other description information that does not fit into an existing category.
So what we already have, man, that is tiny, schema.org. Come on. Okay, what we already have taken is description, measurement type, text as grumpily so, but there it is, and then disambiguating description. See, my guess for other would have been text, but there's no other good place to put table of contents. What do we want to do? We could drop other and just not map it. Or we could try to find something on schema.org to map it to and maybe flip around a couple other things. I don't know.
Or can we map other to disambiguating description?
Well, we'd have to then map technical info somewhere else.
Can we not map into one?
Bad idea. We got to flip the mapping around. So we're trying, once in a while that might just be required, but here we have some flexibility, I think. No thoughts? Leave it off. One comment to leave it off. On the mic.
Why, what if we do abstract to abstract? The technical info to description and other to disambiguating description.
Oh, like, because we're not using abstract?
Yes, because I think that would.
The thing that was in the guidelines was a recommendation. Basically, Google requires the description field. So your suggestion means that field will be filled. But the thing we have to think about is that which one of these description types do we want Google to prioritize? Because it's going to use that whatever is in that description field first for discovery. So do we want the abstract to be prioritized or one of these other types from DataCite? Because otherwise I'm like, cool, let's do something. Let's get this mapped in. But we also have to think about what will be used and hopefully what order for discovery. I'm only guessing it prioritizes description because it requires it. I think it's a reasonable guess. I have no idea what else it prioritizes, to be honest. Would you change your suggestion based on that? Or do you still think we should do it the other way?
I'm just thinking.
On the mic.
I'm just thinking if schema has abstract as a.
They do.
D.
They do.
So
we can use it.
Shouldn't it be used? That's what I was thinking.
Shouldn't we use abstract? So the two comments I heard earlier were that abstract is used, abstract and description are both similar, if I'm paraphrasing the comments correctly, and they wanted to avoid confusion between the two fields. We could map this example abstract to both description and abstract. Yeah, hold on, can I click on the right spot? Who knows? That's the wrong type. We could do, I promise I can spell, guys. We could do this, and then when we flip, I think I copied the wrong thing before I cause a nightmare in my formatting. We could map it to two things identically, and maybe that helps with discovery to some extent. Thinking of the reverse mapping, we would just map from one of them, whichever one is there, prioritizing description into that type on DataCite. That's not too bad to encode. It's fine. I've had my people jump through bigger hoops. But that seems reasonable to me. Does anyone else have a different opinion? Can you look online to see if they have a hand raised or something? And if you're online, feel free to unmute. We have our support person running all over this room. He can't tell me see.
Nobody.
And let me just put this in front of you. Placeholder, just so it doesn't get dropped from the discussion. We can remove it if that's what the group decision is, but it's there. Seems all right. Was that a cut something out?
Oh, I cut both out.
Which both?
All the abstract and the no clue.
Obviously the no clip. But why? Unless there's like a better field we can map to. It's just there so we can get to it.
Well, the
But
abstract, I don't know, twice. Yeah, too confusing.
okay, so cut it out. Any other opinions?
I like that.
You like cutting it out or
Cutting it out. Yeah,
put them on the mic, please?
because that will be a duplication.
I like the cutting out idea because we would be essentially having like duplication there, right? So two data sets,
Okay.
two information. It's just increase the size of the metadata or whatever. We put it
Okay.
there. Yeah.
Comment over here that it's just noise. They need to have like one of those mic in the big blocks that you can literally throw around the room. You could. They have those things. I've heard of them. Because then you can just throw the mic. Anyway,
Yeah.
I've heard it's fun.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's actually quite fun.
rabbit trail. Sorry, forgive me.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I also feel it's just too confusing.
Okay.
So I'd rather less precision and less confusion.
Okay. So online, any objections to removing this? Hold on, about to highlight it. Pause for effect. Any objections to removing that line? We've had 3 arguments to cut it. All right, we'll go for it. And if you couldn't find the mic fast enough, just go for it, speak up. You can always change our minds. That's the point. Okay, so other. So we've already heard the definition. It was basically anything else, that kind of thing. On schema.org, we could do a quick check to see if there's some sort of other text-related field. I wish we could sort based on types, because then that would be super awesome. Okay, I can skim by types. That's a thing. It's not too enormous of a page. In fact, there's a shortcut. All right, so I'm just going to skim down and look for anything that's text. Okay, so ISSN is definitely not other. Measurement method is not it. Measurement technique is a similar piece. Not that one. We've removed abstract as the duplicate child will not feeding lunch to. Accessibility is not the thing. Alternative headline. Oh, that's secondary title that might be used by the different title types. Okay. Assesses. So some sort of assessment. That sounds more like education data sets. Okay. Let's see. Award, citation. Don't go there. Don't do it. Conditions of access doesn't seem like, seems like a specialized case. let's keep going. Content rating, nope. Fuel for another conversation someone's going to track me down for. Correction. Creative work status, that's something different. That's something different. I don't know what edit EIDR is, but I see something about Ghostbusters, so we're going to move forward. It doesn't sound like it. Yeah, now that song's in my head, guys. This is like the rabbit trail that comes when you do this stuff. Educational use, encoding format. That's a genre. Don't do that, guys. Don't do that. Headline sounds like one of the title types. Nope. I mean, feel free to scroll through this on your own. Keywords is something different. That's not cause confusion there. Like we'll be mapping from subject into keywords for sure. Pretty sure we make data sets from ones and zeros, so let's not have fun there. Pattern, we're still under data set, right? You'll see some of these, it's great. Never fails to entertain scrolling through. Okay. Nothing is popping up as particularly helpful. There was text, but we already used text. Additional type is a resource type mapping. Alternate name is also that. We already used description in the next one. Name's already a thing. Okay, so I think we're kind of out of options on what to map into. So shall we cut it? Any rearrangements? We're good with what this is now? Okay, I'm seeing nods and I asked 3 questions at once, so I have no clue what the nods mean. So let me try again. So let's do a raise of hands or thumbs up or something that, in fact, let me just make an edit and then if you like this, is this good? Raise your hand. Thumbs up. Okay. Agreement in the room. One person stressing out. Good luck, my friend, with whatever challenges you. I know things explode. And on the line, what's your on the line? They're not on the phone, whatever. Online, what's your opinion? Thumbs up, unmute to object, whatever you want to do. Five seconds of silence. Okay, you had a chance. All right, so we will put this as our final answer. And hopefully the diving board doesn't get retracted out from underneath us. Like on one of those game shows. Okay. Okay. Agreed. Draft, and then here we go. So final check before we go for this. I will copy the same thing into this Google Rich Results. Wait, was this someone else's job? Did someone volunteer for this? Okay. I guess it's kind of hard for anyone else to do it because I'm like copying from one window into another. Okay, invalid item detected. What are we missing? Oh, it's missing a name, which we're not talking about right now. And invalid string length. Fine. Oh my gosh. Example abstract description to make Google happy. I'm telling you guys, life is real. It has to be at least 50 characters and no more than 2,000. Okay, so now what's the complaint? Okay, so just one critical issue, it's missing a name. So that's fine, because if name gets added, mapping from title. So I'll prove it, watch. Name. Okay. Ta-da, we're indexed. Okay, so we're good. All right, we're not going to include the name thing in our answer here because that's not what we're mapping, but this is valid on schema.org. Google will index it, just add the name, that's the caveat. And then we have some questions here. Well, a comment and then a question for the group. So I'm going to put that as our new comment. Wait, it took, right? Okay, cool. Once in a while, I click the wrong button by some weird thing. All right, congratulations. You have gone through one piece of the exercise. Give yourselves a little hand clap for that. All right, so next piece, let's mind the time. This ends at 10:30, right? Okay, so we have 10 minutes. Maybe subject. We'll at least discuss it, but this is at least an exposure to how we're doing this hackathon process. In fact, maybe we're just in 5 minutes early. So let me just give you a tour of the GitHub, and so you can come in and discuss, jump in on more things. Okay. Rather than trying to squeeze a whole nother conversation into 10 minutes. Not going to happen. Okay, so parent issue here. So the parent issue is 265. It has an example of stuff. There's some links to some useful things here. I did not have the slide deck when I created this, so I will add a comment right now with the link to the slide deck. As you can see, there is conversation going on. Okay, link to the slide deck. With useful links to test things. I don't know. All right, let me grab that. It is literally right here. Everyone has viewing access, I promise. And I can't see the link. There you are. Okay. Wait, hold on. Formatting's a thing. There we go. Preview. Yay, no typos. Cool. All right, so link is there on the main issue to the slide deck. The hackathons happen on the under the scienceonschema.org cluster group, whatever it's called. I can't keep the name straight. But so for here, let's see if I can even get there. esipfed.org. Here's where you're going to see me fumble around and go, where the heck is this thing? Help me out, fellow. Where do we have the, where are the groups? I just scroll down, I think. Find a collab. Oh, look, there's your picture, man.
I know.
That's so cool. All right, collaboration areas. Okay, you scroll down here. I'm just going to search for science on. Okay, fine. Bad choice. Schema. There you are. That's the schema.org group. There's the schema.org cluster. The co-chairs are, this is outdated. It's Ian Nesbitt and Colin Smith. Colin Smith is here. And the monthly meeting is always the fourth Thursday every month at 2:30 Eastern. It's an hour long. Once in a while, they let me steal the show and do a 2-hour hackathon. So you notice it took us about an hour and 20 minutes to get through a piece of it. We tend to go, wrong tab. We tend to go a bit faster in the hackathons. And what we've been able to do, let me show you what we did. So the first time we went a little bit over 2 hours because I had interested and motivated people. We went it was like 2 hours and 20 minutes, scheduled for 2 hours though, but we got through all of this chunk, which was quite a bit. Last time we got through date and geolocation. It's only 2 checks, but there are multiple date types, guys. And geolocation is a big thing in Earth, so that took some time to get right. So today we went through description. Oh, I don't have editing. I'll copy the check mark over later. But we went through description. So next time we'll see what else gets through in a hackathon. But we're trying to get this, hopefully a complete draft in the next couple months, at least by the end of the year, then send that to DataCite to review. And then we flip the mapping and hopefully don't have to do too much work to edit it to go in the reverse direction from schema.org to DataCite. Okay. Any questions, any feedback on the session? How this is run? What do you think? You're going to have to pass the mics around. What's his name? Hello? We need to pass mics around now. Any comments or feedback online or in the room? Feel free to unmute, or if you're here, grab a mic and tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like.
Just thank you for introducing me to this. Now I sort of have a better understanding of the resources in the process. So,
Cool. How about I just pass the mic to everybody and you have to say something?
Yeah, I think it was good. For me, it was good to see. It's like how you go about the trying things. So I'm doing this thing, with different stuff, but it's like just to see the process was good.
Great. Pass the mic over.
Not much to add to that. I mean, it's been interesting to see. This is very different from the way we do things in planetary, so it's interesting to see how it works. So it's good.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, also was interesting because I've not gone that detailed into mapping those. I looked at, okay, so my initial view doing it was more superficial. So this really goes a little bit deeper. So it was good to see the details that we have to map. So it's interesting. I learned a bit on, I need to be a bit more careful how I do stuff.
Okay, great.
Thank you for organizing this session. So now I know a little bit more about schema.org and DataCite schema as well. But I was wanting to ask you if you have tried using AI to do this mapping as a first round.
No.
Oh, no. Yeah, that would be probably a first round, and then we can start.
So honestly, the first round was smashing together two other mappings. So I come from heliophysics from NASA, and my job is to connect our metadata systems and automate as much as possible. As Kelly Lockhart from Science Explorer said the other day, AI is slow if you're going to run it in operations. So whatever you can script, you should. Also with the mapping, when we tried to have an AI with a lot of guardrails doing it, it kept copying the stuff over wrong. I'm like, dude, copy from here to here. Why did you drop 2 words? That's not okay. So we're trying to do this in a script based, like literally a pipeline kind of thing. So we had to map from our metadata system to DataCite, and then metadata system grumpily to schema.org, and then smash them together, remove this heliophysics thing and tweak some things, and let's see what people think about it. So we've been doing this for off and on throughout the year. But there's some things I am happy to use AI for. Pipelines, not so much. Now, drafting the code for the pipeline, yes. Drafting what the mapping should be when I already kind of have the answer, seems like a waste of time to me. But personal taste, to be honest. But let me half scare you. I'll admit it. So let me phrase it differently. Let me expose you to something, like where this is going. So once the mapping, I'm sorry, did anyone online want to comment or provide feedback? Let me give you a moment to do that. Okay. Feel free to jump in for just a moment. Okay, so is this going to the right thing? Yeah. So at the end of the day, once we have all of this figured out on the GitHub issues, what's going to happen is all of the XML draft from the DataCite side gets squished into one big file. All of the schema.org pieces get combined into one thing. But we're also going to send DataCite what's called a SESM file, which kind of looks like this. This is why we're not working from the spreadsheet. The GitHub issues are much more useful. So I'm told this is SESM-like. What does SESM stand for? I cannot remember these things. So a simple standard for sharing ontology mappings. It's a standard that it has been developed over a couple of years. I am still working to understand it, as smarter or more experienced people will let you know. But this is what they're trying to use this format as a way so that once you have this kind of file, it can be automatically read by generic software and then mapped. But basically what just quick tour of what this looks like, you have metadata information from the system you're mapping from on the left. where it's the actual mapping, what the field is, what kind of thing it is, and you have your destination details on the right. In this case, it's schema.org on the right, DataCite on the left, and then you have this piece down the middle. It's basically a Scotch vocabulary choice. Typical choices are exact match, narrow match, and broad match. So exact match is the equal sign. Narrow match and broad match are greater than and less than, or less than. And I always flip the direction if I haven't checked it recently, because there's a little trick to it that you have to remember. There are some other terms that are used for this. Those are the three that I just like, okay, this works. But when this gets reviewed and implemented by DataCite, they are going to ignore this E column. That's not going to be a thing they can reasonably include into their API system. They need a here to here, here's what you get. So I'm not prioritizing that because it's not going to really be used. Confidence, we're doing this all by hand. So I'm like, yeah, we're 100% confident. 2 thumbs up.
Wow.
I don't know. It works. Maybe I should put 0.9 or something. But it just, again, this isn't going to be used by DataCite for implementation. Yeah, there's some comments here about the like formatting choice, like when you're mapping identifier, there's some stuff on schema.org that just needs a little formatting. So just those kinds of notes. And this basically just gets manual, and the other stuff is kind of gravy on top if you want it. But that's what this looks like at the end of the day. I only torture my heliophysics people with this, with this kind of thing. And we go line by line with the same conversations that we're talking about now. But yeah, that's the idea. So this page, if you go to this schema.org cluster and you're interested in getting notices about the hackathons, just join their mailing list, join their invites. And once every other month or every 3 months or something, we have one of these. If you want to jump in, whatever time is fine. There's no requirement to stay the whole 2 hours. Some people stay longer. Some people are like, I have to jet after an hour. And that's cool. You know, the more people, the more opinions that we can get into this, the better the mapping will be. So that would be great. Thank you for your time. It's been really helpful. I was hoping I wouldn't be the only one sitting in the room going, yeah, what's up, Walls? So this is really great to see the interest rather. So let's call it here. So thank you all for coming. That's it.
Thank you.